Johannesburg, a city of gold, a city of dreams. But beneath the glittering surface, darkness festered, a darkness controlled by one man. They called him the Jackal. No one knew his real name, but everyone knew his ruthlessness. He rose from the slums, a nobody with nothing but ambition and a heart full of ice. He built his empire on misery. Drugs flowed like water, lives were destroyed. The Jackal's word was law. His enforcers, ghosts in the night, silenced anyone who dared to defy him. Fear was his greatest weapon, and he wielded it like a master. The streets, once vibrant with life, now cowered under the Jackal's grip. Mothers clutched their children close, their eyes filled with fear. Businesses shuddered, unable to bear the weight of his extortion. The police seemed powerless to stop him, their hands tied by corruption and fear. The Jackal's reach extended into the very heart of the city. He was a cancer, eating away at the soul of Johannesburg. Whispers of his brutality reached every corner. The stories were always the same: lives shattered, families torn apart. The city held its breath, trapped in a nightmare woven by the Jackal. But even in the darkest of times, hope finds a way. In the midst of overwhelming oppression and fear, a spark of defiance can ignite a movement. It starts with a whisper, a quiet resolve that grows louder with each passing day. The people, though weary and battered, find strength in unity and purpose. Deep in the heart of the city, a resistance began to flicker. It was in the hidden corners and shadowy alleyways that the seeds of rebellion were sown. The city, with its towering buildings and bustling streets, became the backdrop for a clandestine struggle. The flickering lights of the city mirrored the flickering hope in the hearts of its people. A small group of brave souls, tired of living in fear, decided to fight back. They gathered in secret, huddled together in dimly lit rooms, sharing their stories and their pain. Each meeting was a testament to their courage, a defiance of the fear that sought to silence them. They knew that their strength lay in their unity, and that together they could challenge the darkness that had enveloped their lives. Led by a charismatic pastor and a fearless journalist, they vowed to expose the Jackal and bring him to justice. They knew the risks. The pastor, with his powerful oratory, inspired hope and resilience, while the journalist, with her relentless pursuit of truth, documented their struggle. Together they formed the heart and voice of the resistance, guiding their comrades through the perilous journey ahead. They had seen what happened to those who dared to cross him. The memorials and graffiti that adorned the city walls were stark reminders of the cost of defiance. Each photo, each candle, told a story of bravery and sacrifice. The fallen heroes were not forgotten. Their spirits fueled the resolve of the living. The community mourned, but they also found strength in their shared grief. They knew that silence meant complicity. The oppressive regime thrived on fear and silence, using it as a tool to maintain control. But the resistance understood that their voices were their most powerful weapon. To remain silent was to accept the chains of their oppressors. They chose to speak out, to break the silence, and to stand up for their rights and their dignity. That fear was a prison they could no longer afford to inhabit. The chains of fear had bound them for too long, but now they were breaking free. The dawn of a new day brought with it a renewed sense of purpose and determination. They stood tall, defiant and unyielding, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Their resolve was unbreakable, their spirit indomitable. Their courage was a beacon of light, a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human heart. In the face of overwhelming odds, they chose to stand together, to fight for their freedom and their future. The light of their courage pierced through the darkness, illuminating the path forward. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can shine brightly, guiding the way to a better tomorrow. The journalist Sifo started digging. He unearthed evidence of the Jackal's crimes. He published his findings, risking everything to expose the truth. His words were a rallying cry for the oppressed. Meanwhile, the pastor, Mama Africa as she was known, provided solace and strength to the community. She organized marches and protests, demanding justice for the victims. The Jackal, used to ruling with an iron fist, was enraged. He vowed to crush the resistance. He unleashed his enforcers, but he had underestimated the people's resolve. They were no longer afraid. The city was a powder keg ready to explode. The Jackal's brutality had finally reached a tipping point. People from all walks of life, shopkeepers, teachers, taxi drivers, students, joined the movement. They refused to be silenced. They took to the streets, their voices rising in unison against the Jackal's reign of terror. The city echoed with their chants for justice. The police, inspired by the community's courage and led by a few honest officers, finally took action. They raided the Jackal's hideouts, dismantling his network piece by piece. The final confrontation was inevitable. The Jackal, a notorious crime lord, had evaded capture for years, his name whispered in fear across the city. But tonight, the relentless pursuit by law enforcement had brought them to his doorstep. The city held its breath as the police prepared for the showdown, a tense standoff at the Jackal's stronghold. The building, once a symbol of his untouchable power, was now surrounded by a sea of flashing lights and armed officers. Inside, the Jackal and his loyalists prepared for what they knew would be their last stand. The air crackled with anticipation. Onlookers gathered at a safe distance, their faces a mix of fear and hope. They had lived under the Jackal's shadow for too long, and tonight, they dared to dream of freedom. The police, backed by the unwavering support of the community, closed in. It was a rare moment of unity in a city often divided by the Jackal's reign. Civilians provided crucial information, guiding the officers through the labyrinth of the crime lord's operations. The Jackal, cornered like a wounded animal, fought back with the fury of a man who had nothing left to lose. His loyalists, equally desperate, engaged in a fierce battle with the police. Gunfire echoed through the night, a stark reminder of the violence that had plagued the city. But it was a losing battle. The police, well prepared and determined, gradually overpowered the Jackal's forces. One by one his men fell, and the Jackal himself was finally subdued, his defiance giving way to the inevitable. His empire, built on fear and violence, crumbled around him. The once imposing stronghold was now a scene of chaos and destruction, a fitting end to a reign marked by brutality and terror. In the dead of night, the Jackal's reign of terror came to an end. The police led him away in handcuffs, a sight that many had longed to see. The nightmare was over, and a new dawn was on the horizon. He was arrested, his face splashed across every newspaper the next day. Headlines screamed of his downfall, and the city reveled in the news. The Jackal, once a symbol of fear, was now a cautionary tale of justice served. The city, finally free from his tyranny, breathed a collective sigh of relief. People took to the streets celebrating the end of an era. The dawn brought with it a sense of hope and renewal, as the community looked forward to rebuilding and healing from the scars left by the Jackal's reign. The trial was swift. The evidence, meticulously gathered by Saifo and his team, was overwhelming. Witnesses, no longer afraid, bravely recounted their harrowing experiences. The judge, with a stern face and a voice filled with the weight of justice, read the verdict: guilty on all counts. The Jackal, stripped of his power and mystique, was sentenced to life in prison. His empire, built on quicksand, vanished overnight. His name, once whispered in fear, became a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the darkest nights eventually give way to dawn. The Jackal's reign left an indelible mark on Johannesburg. His rule was characterized by fear and oppression, leaving the city in a state of despair. The once vibrant streets were now shadows of their former selves, echoing the cries of a community in pain. The scars of his brutality ran deep. Abandoned buildings stood as silent witnesses to the chaos that had unfolded. Graffiti-covered walls told stories of resistance and survival, each stroke a testament to the resilience of the people. But his downfall also ignited a spirit of unity and resilience in the community. People began to gather, not in fear, but in hope. Meetings in parks became a common sight, where plans for a better future were laid out. Residents worked hand in hand, cleaning up streets and restoring a sense of normalcy. The people of Johannesburg, bound by their shared experience, began the arduous task of rebuilding their city. Volunteers planted trees and flowers, breathing new life into community gardens. Walls that once bore the marks of conflict were painted over, symbolizing a fresh start. They established support groups for the victims, offering counseling and assistance. Group therapy sessions became a safe haven for many, a place where they could share their stories and find solace. Community volunteers tirelessly handed out food and supplies, ensuring that no one was left behind. The fight for justice had come at a cost, but it had also brought about a profound transformation. Memorial vigils with candles and flowers honored those who had suffered, while protest marches through the streets of Johannesburg demanded accountability and change. Johannesburg rose from the ashes, stronger and more united than ever before. Reconstructed buildings with fresh paint stood as symbols of renewal. The aerial view of a vibrant, bustling neighborhood showcased the city's remarkable recovery, a testament to the enduring power of hope and the unwavering spirit of Ubuntu. Children played in newly renovated parks, their laughter a melody of joy and freedom. Community members celebrated at local events, embracing the new dawn with open hearts and minds.